Hey guys, so South Africa will be taking on England in the final test of the series so far, and I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be a tight clash, I think. Based on the comments that were made by both captains, we can see that both teams are up for it, and it's going to be a very different game to I feel the last two, where it's going to be completely outright. I'm hoping that it's going to be a lot closer in this match. I mean, that would be perfect for the neutrals. But ultimately, we want South Africa to win the series, of course. At least I do, and South African fans do. And we're going to have a discussion about this, obviously, today, about the game. Who do we expect to see play? What Dean Alga had to say in the press conference. All of those things we're going to talk about on today's show. We're also going to talk about the Oval conditions, history over there, who has been South Africans that have performed there in the past. We obviously know one famous knock that happened over there, not a long time ago. But it's still something to remember. But we're going to talk about it on today's show. So before we get going, before we get started, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification bell for future videos. Also, smash the like button, comment, and share with all your friends and family. But also go to Kick Fanatics Magazine Monthly. You get all your issues 100% free straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen, and as well as in the description. This is the latest issue. Dean Alga's on the front cover. It's all about being a captain. So please go ahead and look at the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics Magazine Monthly. If you want to keep up to date with all of our preview things and features with regards to this test series, please go ahead and look at it on cricketfanaticsmag.com. That's where you'll get all your updates with regards to our preview for the game. There's also some features about certain players. There's a feature on Sile Evia that you can still read now and is relevant. You can read a feature on Marco Janssen that's also still relevant. And there's also a feature on Keshav Maharaj. So please go ahead and go look at those three features on the website. It gives you some excellent insight into their mentality and how they got to where they are right now. There's also some columns, some opinion pieces, as well as some reflection pieces from the presser, all on the website. So go ahead and check that on cricketfanaticsmag.com. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Looking forward to discussing this with you guys. A very good evening. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your preview show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is my co-host, Aaron. And today we were going to be talking about the third test between South Africa and England that will be taking place at the Oval. And interesting clash. There's been 11 days, I think, rest. So
Mm.
there was a hell of a lot of time off for the guys. So I think that's probably where we can start. Um, who do you think that time off would have benefited more? Do you think, Aaron?
Through gritted teeth, I'd say South Africa, purely because of how badly that second test actually went for the Proteas. England, if it would have been around about a week later, you can argue that there's momentum coming into factor for the Three Lions, whereas that momentum now is all but gone. But what I will say, the Oval, it's a high-scoring venue, very good for Test cricket as well. Pretty flat. We'll talk about conditions and the overheads as well, because in particular tomorrow, looking very, very wet indeed. Probably some thunderstorms around as well. But we are set for an excellent conclusion to what's been a very interesting series. It hasn't gone quite how we imagined it would have, has it? In terms of the two games, both been almost avalanches for the two respective sides. But yeah, as they say, winner takes all, and may the best team win in South London this
Yeah.
week.
And again, we're sitting before a game and looking at the weather report and not liking
It
it
is
at all.
England. It is England. It's part and
Yeah.
parcel.
So we don't know if this is going to be the case, because last time when we did look at things, it wasn't necessarily the same as we thought it would be. So let's see. I mean, based on what Dean Alga said in the press conference, it was raining today. So, uh, and I
I
think
can
yesterday as
confirm that.
well. And yesterday as well.
Yep, and it's going to rain
Okay.
tomorrow.
Oh my lord. Okay, so it's going to be as frustrating into this test. I hope it's not. I hope we get a complete match. I mean, Dean Alga did say that he believes that there will be a complete end to the match. He did think there's going to be a finish. So at least that is out of the way. We know the weather is going to be the way it is, but let's still get into the thoughts processes of what has taken place. Okay, so from our perspective, South Africa's perspective, before we get into Aaron's side on England's side, let's just talk South Africa first. The first major thing and the major news story that came out of the press conference today is that Ryan Rickelton is replacing Rassie van der Dussen in the lineup. Now, that's a great thing for all of us. We are all very, very happy with that outcome. We've been talking about him even starting in the first test, never mind the second. So it's good to see that he's going to get an opportunity now. But another thing that surprised me is also that Dean spoke about maybe possibly three changes being made in this particular match. So I'm assuming one of them is going to be Simon Harmer coming out and then replaced by Marco Jansen.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the key one. Who is the interesting one? Will it be a Aiden Markram out situation? Is it going to be maybe one of the bowlers that are going to miss out? It's going to be a very interesting point and a very interesting thought process, because when Ungama asked the question to Dean Alga about experience first selection in the criteria in the past, he kind of hinted at the fact that it might have been a little bit of a mistake to think that way. So that might give us some hints into what his selection will be for the next test match. For me, it would only be two changes. Personally, I would give Aiden Markram this final test, because I think give him the three matches, and then maybe he comes good in this match at three matches at 4 consistently. I think is fair enough. But with Dean Alga being quite persistent that they want to win this match, and it's a massive match. He said it's actually his biggest match so far as a captain. So far, I know it hasn't been really a long captaincy stint, but he said it's one of the biggest matches that he's going to be playing as a captain, and he thinks that it will be so for a very long time too. I think so. It's something that that I'm nervous about, because it all depends on that top 6, 7 and how they're going to perform in South Africa's point of view, I feel. And the toss, once again, is going to be so important. If the overhead conditions are the way they are, then bowling first is going to be... I hope they don't make the same mistakes or have the same naivety that they had in Manchester.
It's interesting you say that. It's very, very interesting you say that, because the Oval is probably one of the only venues on planet Earth where I would ignore the overhead conditions. We've seen it so often in county cricket and in test cricket as well. The pitch is flat. It's as flat as a pancake. Forget the overhead conditions. You win the toss, you bat first at the Oval. It really is that simple. And that will be key tomorrow. Because if it is thick, dark cloud hanging over South London and South Africa do win the toss, knowing what's happened in Manchester, if they bowl, they could be heading into a little bit of a trap. So I'm interested to see what happens there tomorrow. But in terms of the changes, Khalid, if there were to be 3 changes and Markram does come out, who would you bring in? Would you bring in Kai Zondo, or would you go with Vion Mulder, considering the fact that, Kai's been brilliant in domestic cricket, Mulder's been excellent in county cricket? Who would be that third change for you as a Proteas fan?
For me, it will probably be Kai Zondo comes in.
I would agree.
I think just based on fairness, because the fact that Mulder wasn't in the squad before, if they play Mulder over Kaya while he's in the squad, and the position's open for him, specialist position is open up for him within the batting lineup, I think it's a bit disrespectful for that to happen again, because it's the second time it would have happened to him in his career, if that is the case. So if there is another change, I would go with Kai Zondo, because he has the experience in domestic cricket. He's shown that he can bat long. But my concern again with majority of our batters is the conversion rates that they show in their careers. And I'm a big speaker of that when it comes to test cricket, particularly because I feel that test cricket, you need to bat long. It just is how it is. I mean, I listened to Ashwell Prince actually speak about At his launch, they had a launch for him, and Vinnie Barnes had a launch for their foundation, and they spoke about different things in their career. And I like the way Ashel speaks about the fact that you think beyond the 100, you think beyond the milestone. So if you're aiming for 100, go beyond it. Think 110, think 120. If you want to get a 150, think 200. Then at least you won't be disappointing yourself if you don't reach the milestone that you actually ended up wanting, because you still will be pushing further and not be mentally affected by the 100 as you get closer to the 100. It kind of is just a like psychological trick that you play in your mind. You think beyond the 100 and not at that 100 milestone. It's just a mental thing that might give you a push. But what I've seen consistently with South Africa is, yes, we have a lot of batters that are averaging 40 plus in domestic cricket currently. And yes, we have a lot of batters that we want to speak about putting into the 11. But I do think that conversion rates are important, because if players can't score hundreds at domestic level, how do they expect to score that at the test level? And I continue with that statement. But in this particular moment, with us wanting an extra batter in the lineup, for me, it has to be Kai Zondo. Uh, although I wouldn't go with Kayo at all, in my opinion, and not. I will go with a 6-7 split rather than a 7-4 split. Personally, I'd rather go with a 6-7 split. What the hell am I talking about?
You're changing
a
sport.
6-5, a 6-5 split. Sorry, I'll go with a 6-5 split. Personally, I think that adding Rickleton into the mix, I have confidence in him enough that he can do well in this particular match. So I don't think it's necessary for the extra bat, in my opinion. Although, because I think bowling the team out on, if what you're saying is true and it's a batting paradise,
It is.
and based on the stats over here, if I look at it as well, if you look at the scores, I mean, this ground has 200-300 scores on it in its history. I know one was in 1938, but I mean, still, the big scores, big double, and a lot of double hundred scored on this ground as well in the past. So, not only looking at that though, based on what you are saying, if that is the case, then we're going to need to find a way to build our position out. And I think we need all of our whole entire bowling attack to be able to do so, not a reduced bowling attack. So Marco Jansen for me comes back in for me, and I go with Lungi Ngidi, I go with Anrich Nokia and KJ Rabada, and then one spinner. So obviously Keshav. So that's my idea of the bottom, the bowlers at least. And for me personally, I prefer the 6-7. I prefer the 6.
The 6-7 again.
The 6-5. I prefer the 6-5 split, in my opinion. So that's my choice on team. But just purely on doing the right thing, I feel if they're going to play drop an Aiden as well, then I think Zondo needs to come back in for Aiden. Your thoughts on South Africa first and foremost? Are you happy that you're going to finally get to see Ryan Rickleton play in England in a test match at least?
100%. I mean, I had the pleasure of witnessing him live at Wantage Road when Warwickshire played Northants. He's brilliant. Said it before, 4 matches, 560 plus runs scored, averaging 77 in Division 1. He's just got something about him, hasn't he? First class average over 50 as well. Might I just add, so Ryan Rickleton, absolutely delighted for him. He's earned this opportunity. And even though I am an England fan, I'm a cricket fan first and foremost. I want to see him do well, and hopefully he can score some runs on this batting-friendly wickets at the Oval. But in terms of where I am in this series, in terms of confidence, I must say, Khalid, I'm pretty confident that England will win this. I don't know where it's come from, genuinely, considering the fact that last year we were absolutely atrocious at Test cricket. I don't know whether it's the Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum effect, but we've just lost Johnny Bairstow, who, to be honest, wasn't in the greatest of forms in this series. He's had an outstanding summer across the other 2 series. And we've replaced him with Harry Cherrington-Brook, who, again, we talk about incredible domestic run scorers. The guy's the 3rd leading run scorer in Division 1 so far this season. He's played in 8 matches. He scored 967 runs at an average of 107. So at the Oval, a flat, batting-friendly paradise. I'm very, very much looking forward to his England Test debut as well. So pretty confident, to be fair, as long as the weather holds off. I think England might actually take the series 2-1.
Okay. If that's what you believe, I'm going to go in the opposite, obviously. I'm going to back my team. I think also Dean Alga's experience playing for Saudi in the past, that must help somehow.
That was years
Um,
ago.
I mean, but still, it must give him some sort of insight into the ground, into having, maybe he has players there, that he still knows that he can speak to about certain things about the ground, etc. I don't
Riley
know.
Pope,
It should be
Ben
able
Folk,
to.
who are playing against him.
I'm clutching on straws with regards to that because
Mhm.
I'm hoping that it's simple for South Africa. If we bat well, we win. In my opinion, if South Africa bat well, we'll win this game.
Yeah, but it's the same for
Because
both
I feel
sides.
no, I
It's the
don't think
exact same
so.
thing for England.
I
Yes, it
don't think
is.
so. I don't think so because I feel that South Africa's bowling attack with full of confidence is a lot more dangerous than England's, in my opinion.
In English conditions, Jimmy Anderson
Even
should have
in
brought really.
even in English conditions, I think KG has enough. I think Andrich has the pace. I think Janssen has showed his calmness at the with the ball, and then we've got Lungi and Gidi that tends to be economical no matter where he bowls. I think those players, those four bowlers, I think honestly, if they can consistently play, they'll become one of the best bowling attacks ever in the world. Oh, they currently are, but I mean, can be maybe spoken about as the best bowling attack in the world. And I think that with runs on the board, you're laughing, but with no runs on the board, South Africa have won matches with this bowling attack. So imagine what we can do, what they're going to do with the confidence flowing through their veins with runs on the board.
What
And they know
confidence?
that
They've just lost 9 innings.
no, I'm talking about confidence from scoring runs. If we bat first,
Oh, right. Okay.
yeah,
Right,
I'm talking about that. I'm talking about that sort of confidence because the fact that if you guys go in bat first and you put 400 and 500 on the board,
we
you're
won't.
not going to get the same aggression. I feel from our bowlers. I see them, but they differently. They bowl differently when they heavily under pressure. And then when they know the game is kind of out of their reach. Like in Manchester, I think they took their foot off the pedal in certain areas of the match, and also I think Dean Alga perhaps too took his foot off the pedal in certain moments in the match. But if there's with runs on the board, this is probably the most deadly attack I feel, in my opinion. We've got 140 bowlers, all three are 140 bowlers, 150 bowler in Andy Nokia. So I don't know. I think
if that was in South Africa, I'd agree, or Australia, where you need the extra pace. You don't need the extra pace in England. We've got 3 out-and-out swing bowlers, Anderson and Broad.
I think Johnny Bairstow will disagree with that one. I know he's not playing this match, but
you wait until you watch Harry Brook.
the
He'll love the extra pace. Remember, he was facing Duan Oliveira in the nets. Let's not forget that.
Duan Oliveira is not fast. He was 120. What are you talking about?
He was back in 2019. I know 2022 is a little bit different, but unfortunately.
I heard a lot about Harry Brook, though. I heard that some people talk about him saying that he's a proper batter. I mean, Alga spoke quite highly of him as well in the press conference.
He is. He's brilliant, genuinely. I'm not just saying this, as an England fan, right, but genuinely just as a cricket appreciator. Harry Brook's just this lovely, aesthetically pleasing prospect. He really is. He's confident against both spin and seam. He's got an elegance. He's got a panache, a flair about his game. Genuinely, if he gets going in this test, I know he's on debut, right? But the Oval, there was another England player back in 2009 who made his debut at the Oval in the Ashes, a certain Jonathan Trott, and he scored a masterful century. So all I'm going to say is that if Harry Brook can unleash the inner Jonathan Trott, England could win this. I'm just saying, I'd love him to do that as well. Do not get me wrong. I'd love Harry Brook to score some big runs, but oh my word.
What are you?
How are you going to drop that surprise on me?
What's wrong? He's here every day, or most days.
We have not been on a show together in months, Aditya.
It's been a while, brother. How are you doing?
Very good.
I didn't realize how long it's been. Has it been that
now.
long?
Exactly. You can't just drop that. Incredible. Honestly, Aditya, that's made my nights. It's a pleasure to be back on with you, mate.
That hurts.
Huh?
That hurts. That takes addition to make your night.
Oh, sorry.
AD, let's get you straight into this. Adam's quite confident about English chances
I'm
tomorrow.
very confident.
And in this
I'm
particular
incredibly
test match.
confident. I think in terms of the mind games, I think we're ahead.
Do you think there's too much if buts and maybes when it comes to South Africa's team at the moment?
Yeah.
From your perspective, Aditya, what do you think on the game matchup? Who do you think? What do you think first needs to happen with regards to the lineup, knowing that Ryan Nicholton's going to obviously play, and Alga obviously mentioned that there's going to be maybe other 2-3 changes other than that into the team. How does South Africa approach this game? Aaron told us that this particular track and the conditions over here, it's a bad first wicket, a flat track apparently, according to him. So, what's your thoughts?
Well, from South Africa's perspective, the one thing that I think will be bothering them is that they obviously played really well in the first test match, right? And then somewhere they made a judgment call that they need to change the team a little bit to accommodate the extra spinner. And in that, you sort of sacrifice your fast bowling all rounder who's done really well with both bat and ball. And it's a change that hasn't worked because you've still lost the test match. Whatever you attribute it to, you've made a judgment call, it hasn't worked, and you still lost the test match. And that judgment call hasn't worked. Like Simon Harmer, we have a lot of faith in him, but it's not like he produced spectacular returns in that test match, or he was South Africa's shining light in that test match. And so now you have a series decider where you've got to reflect on whether you go with a combination that you trust, which I think South Africa did in that first test match, but not so much in the second. And so like that's my main sort of conundrum, right? When the fans talk about it, or when we might talk about it, that let's bring this player in, let's change the team, let's chop and change a little bit. But then the question that arises then is that if that change doesn't work, what do you do? Do you go back to your original combination, or do you persist with this one? And I think that's the challenge that South Africa are going to have right now. So my hope for them would be that they go with proper conviction and have faith in the players that they choose.
Yeah, and we need to be as settled as possible. Of course, that's the main thing for South Africa. And I think personally, the way they approach this needs to be their own games. They need to, like I've always said, focus on your own game, not trying to play a certain style. I think that South Africa have the capabilities and the people in these teams to be able to just play their normal game and get into a good situation. Obviously, Adam's running with confidence over here, but let's look at the stats that I found on House Stat. And yeah, so when it comes to matches one batting first, they say over here 35.92%. So Adam's obviously right when it comes to that. Matches one batting second is 27%. So it's quite, you could say it's relatively close. Matches one winning the toss is 33%, and losing the toss is 29.1%. So also pretty close. So matches drawn over at the Oval, 35.92%. And that's probably a big thing to think about, especially with this test match, is the drawn match. Of a possibility of being a drawn series. And that was obviously spoken about, but Dean Alga never necessarily thought that is the case. He said that there will definitely be a result, but with the rain about, that percentage of draws seems likely there, Aaron.
Yeah, it does. And it is unfortunate, but to be honest, if it does stay relatively dry, looking at that forecast actually, Khalid, if you could put that back up, I think Saturday and Sunday look okay for the most part. And then Monday, it might be a little bit drizzly. Friday's not looking too bad either. I know it says there it's raining about 20 degrees, but I think it's intermittent showers as opposed to constant rainfall. So I hope it does, stay away. It'd be lovely to have a good conclusion to this series. But looking at those stats and looking at some of the stats in championship cricket, at the Oval over the past 5, 10, probably even 15, 20 years, it is also a venue where if you bat long, the draw does come into play. So this could be a drawn series either way. And to be honest, if both sides bat well, that probably would be the right result because both teams have had one excellent performance, one shambolic performance. And then if you were to draw the series with a hard-fought contest at the Oval, that wouldn't be such a bad ending, would it? It wouldn't be an anticlimax. But I think both of us, given the allegiances that we have to our respective teams, want a result. We either want a South Africa 2-1 or an England 2-1. But it is going to be a great game of cricket. Both of these sides, you can tell with the captains as well. These two captains absolutely adore playing international cricket for their respective countries. It is the absolute pinnacle of their careers, and you can tell that. Ben Stokes lives and breathes England. Dean Elgar, the exact same for South Africa. They are going to fight every single delivery of this last match to win this series. England as well have got a pretty proud record against South Africa in Test match cricket recently. We've won the last 3 series on the trot. So that's something else for England to try and defend in this particular game. So should be a great, great conclusion. And yeah, can't wait for it.
That's what I respect the most about Stokes as well, is that he picked to be captain of the Test team, you know. I like that. You know, I mean, he could have said no and, you know, and done some and just focus on white ball cricket like someone that plays for South Africa, you know. So but I did chat.
He's on smoke tonight.
Save me for myself.
Well, since we're all celebrating cricket today, I must direct our attention for 1 minute to the Afghanistan-Pakistan game, because Afghanistan seems remarkably close to pulling off an upset.
Naseem's just hit 6 though.
Yeah. So let's see. Anything is possible. They've got 9 wickets. They've taken 9 wickets. They've defended. They're close to defending 130 at Sharjah, which is remarkable.
The batting from both sides has been pretty bad, though. Hopefully the batting at the Oval will be a lot better in this particular Test match. But yeah, it would be very, very good. It's been a cracking match, that cracking tournament as well, the Asia Cup. Really has. I'm covering that tonight as well. But yeah, probably should get back to focusing on England, South Africa. Khalid doesn't look too happy. Just because I know you're going to bring it up at some point. You mentioned right at the start of the show, historic performances at the Oval. Can we talk about Hashim Amla's 311? Because I know you're going to bring it up anyway. I mean, imagine if we see a knock in that ilk and that vein in this particular series. That'd be something quite incredible, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be amazing. And if imagine if it's Ryan Rickleton, that would be
or Harry Brook, or Harry Brook.
We're not talking about England players now.
Pakistan have won.
Pakistan win.
India are out then. So condolences, Aditya.
Yeah, you jinxed him as soon as you mentioned that he hit a 6.
That is a very good point. They needed 11 off the last over, Aditya. You mentioned this. You brought this upon yourself. And then Naseem Shah
you stopped the entire show to say it too.
I was saying it for glory of Afghanistan cricket. India doesn't matter. It's good. They get some more rest. You know, it's good for them. I have no problem if India bounced out of the Asia Cup. No problem at all.
Yeah. Okay. So, guys, let's get into obviously Hashim Amla's 300 was phenomenal, and it will always be remembered by everybody in South African history. I mean, and not only for a player to do it, also a player of color to do it, unbelievable as well from that perspective. So it's a win all around. So we're hoping that South Africa can put on a batting performance. The batting is going to be extremely important. I can't stress it more in this particular match. Like, it's really going to be hectic. By the way, I know you guys say that it was in Ramadan, no drink, no food. That's mental strength. That's actually what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. A myth.
A myth, yes. So it was Ramadan, yes, but he never fasted. So I don't think a lot of people know about that. So if you're working as well, you don't have to fast. So I don't think he fasted during that 300. From what I've heard from the local, that was a bit of a myth. It was during Ramadan, and yes, it's still difficult because your body is weaker. Because remember, you're fasting 30 days, and the longer the time goes by, you do get weaker and weaker as time goes by. But I don't think he ate food, but he did drink, because there's no way. It's impossible. You would have collapsed. 311, you would have collapsed if you didn't have any water. Or I remember doing a training camp once. It was a 2-hour training camp, 3-hour training camp in Johannesburg during the fast. I didn't eat the entire, obviously didn't eat the entire day, didn't drink the entire day. I literally fainted. So like after like the first 45 minutes of training, I just collapsed. I couldn't. So like,
What training was that?
judo,
Media training.
judo.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Let's not bring that up again.
So yeah, well, I have to difference it somewhere. But okay, so we know Aaron thinks we're going to win this match. Aditya,
Who's
your
we?
perspective.
England.
I mean, oh shit. I mean, you know that Aaron thinks that England's going to win this match.
You support England as well.
Aditya, how are we going to? How does South Africa cause an not cause an upset? How does South Africa do what they're supposed to do and win this match and win the series?
Supposed to do. Supposed to do, as if England have not got a fantastic record and have only lost one Test series in my entire 21 years on this earth.
They need to have conviction. They need to ensure that they're confident with the 11 that they've picked to play on in this last Test match, and the first day needs to go well. If the first day goes to England, I don't think there's any coming back for South Africa. It's going to be tough.
I completely echo that sentiment. Completely echo it. And to be completely honest, I am pretty confident that England can do that. I don't know where this confidence has come from. I genuinely don't. If you asked me this at the start of the series, neither do I. It's fantastic. It's refreshing. But genuinely, I don't know. For some reason or the other. Yeah, I think that probably is actually. Yeah.
Baseball, brother.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been hooked by baseball, but I just think last game at the Oval, right? England really want this series because it's been an excellent summer. Last year was absolutely horrific, whereas this summer, win against India, record run chase at Edgbaston, and of course beating New Zealand was massive in McCullum's first ever series as England coach. We've come into this series, we've started off really poorly. We've fought back like the Lions that are present on those England Test shirts. And then this is just a brilliant opportunity. We've got a team which has got an excellent bowling attack. The only thing that I will say, I think this will be a battle of the batsmen. In terms of those two batting lineups, it really will be a case of who comes out on top, because you've got to bat time at the Oval. And England's batsmen, other than Stokes, other than folks in Manchester, haven't really done that. In particular, the top order continues to struggle. Even Joe Root's had a poor series. So for England, although I'm confident that the bowlers can get the job done, I really want to see some improvement from the top order. I've said it all series long. I'll continue to say it. I really, really want to see some runs for Zach Crawley. If not, he shouldn't play over the winter. Alex Lees as well. He's averaging, I think, about 27 in Test cricket at the moment. So he's another one. His place is under pressure, in particular when you look at some of the performances in county cricket from the likes of Keaton Jennings and Ben Compton, for example. And then Joe Root, of course, it'd be lovely for him to get back into some run-scoring rhythm as well. So I think for England's top order, if they get going, if they can lay any sort of foundation for that middle order, particularly the trio of Stokes, now we've got Harry Brook, and of course Ben Foakes, who this is home ground, I think England can get the job done. I really do. I've got confidence and some faith in them to pull it off.
Mm-hmm. So let me get into some of the comments in the comment section. Lauren saying Mulder smashing up Division 2 county bowlers doesn't lead me to have a lot of confidence in the selection. I mean, I saw some of the knocks he played, and we have better club bowlers than that. I mean, you know, Aaron, and you know this, and this is probably why you don't talk to me as much. Is because you know that I don't necessarily think that county cricket is at a level that it's portrayed to be by many people. I think that it's a lot weaker than a lot of people say. But that's just my personal point of view. I mean, I don't watch enough of it to know, so I can't. Really
I will
say
remember that exact quote. I will clip this up and put this all over my social media if England win this series 2-1.
Well, if you win the series 2-1, it won't be because county cricket's stronger.
Yes, it will.
Be because no, don't.
Yes, it will.
No, it won't.
Who do all of these players play for then? Did we just magically?
So when
create
we beat you when we beat you in the first match,
So
did you
when
say,
we
"Oh, no,
haven't
domestic cricket
beaten,
in South Africa is better"?
when we haven't lost a single Test series on South African soil for 22 years, that's not because of county cricket.
I don't think it's because of county cricket now.
Where do these players come from then?
But it's not because of county cricket. You got talented players.
Who
Are you
are
telling me?
developed by the county?
Are you telling me that Sri Lanka, when Sri Lanka was on top of the world, it's because the domestic cricket was good?
Partly, yes, because who develops the players?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It depends on. There's loads of things. There's loads of things involved when it comes to domestic cricket, other than that. Other than just being a good standard. I don't actually like talking about domestic cricket like that. Actually, in fact, to say which domestic cricket tournament is stronger than the other.
No, I agree with that. Neither do I.
Because of conditions. Conditions can change a lot in red ball cricket, and particularly in red ball cricket. And in South Africa, the grounds that we play on, there's not much variety, I would say, in South African conditions, as there is maybe in certain other countries. So, I mean, I don't necessarily think because South Africa's domestic cricket team is strong, and that is the reason why that is the reason why we produce so many great fast bowlers, for example. I think there's other factors involved with regards to that. I think school cricket, we are already producing pace at school level. So whatever kids are doing from a younger age in the bowling department in South Africa, the training that they're getting, the private coaching they're getting, I think that has a lot to do with regards to setting the foundations for our future bowlers that are coming through. I don't think that the conditions necessarily suit our bowlers, for example, to get them as many wickets. They have to work a lot harder, and that perhaps helps them because there's not a lot of games in the 4-day domestic cricket where we see people getting bowled out. So not necessarily, that isn't necessarily always the case with both sides, of course. You'll see a lot of declarations happening. So I don't back your statement by saying that county cricket is so great, that's why your England team wins matches. I don't agree with you. You can disagree if you want to. Because when
I will disagree in part, but I'm just saying that's where they come from.
40-year-olds score hundreds in the county cricket.
Darren Stevens would absolutely rifle runs for fun in South Africa. In fact, if any of them are watching any of those domestic state sides, sign up Darren Stevens and you watch, he'd score 1,000 runs in South Africa.
He's so confident, eh?
I know.
About himself and patriotic about England. It's the same with the football.
It's just a case.
They got the best league in the world, but they shit.
Yeah, I know we are. I can't disagree with that. Can't disagree with football. No, I think Khalid, we have actually got a lot more common ground than you think there, actually. Because I agree, it's not just because of domestic cricket, but it's a case of these players do come from the county. So county cricket must be doing something right. We've won 2 World Cups in the past decade. You know, we have been competitive in Test cricket. We were the number 1 ranked side a decade ago. So I'm just saying that county cricket gets a lot of stick. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's not as good as it seems," and yet everybody wants to come and play it. And also England are producing world-class cricketers who are playing all over the world in franchise cricket. So I'm just saying it is as good as people make it.
You also had a 50 to 100 year head start on South Africa.
I mean,
and how have we got onto this as
well? You're supposed to be the best ever. You're supposed to be like the best team ever. You created the game.
That isn't how it works, unfortunately. I wish that was the case.
Okay, there's debate on that. There's some movies and documentaries that have shown that actually India was the forefathers of cricket. And
how is this about the 3rd test? How have we got onto this?
I have no clue.
It's turning into the podcast, isn't it?
It is turning into the podcast. And did you save me once again? And he doesn't leave me out to hang. Okay, let's go on. How is it not necessary for the extra batter? We've been absolutely crap on flat decks. We needed batting. I don't know if it's crap on flat decks, because I don't think we played on many flat decks. if I think about it in the past, there's always been something in the wicket that's nipping around and making it difficult for our batters. So if this is a flat deck, like I think it's going to be flat, then we shouldn't have any excuses. I don't think we need the extra batter if it's a flat deck. If it was a wicket like Manchester, where there was a little bit nip in the surface, not in the air, but in the surface, and it makes it tricky in the first opening session, that's South Africa's weakness. That first session, lunch until lunch. That's where you beat South Africa. If you can get them three down, two down before lunch, you in the driving seat.
But the thing is that generally, when we talk about the extra batter, I'm going to reiterate a point that I made during the second test match, which is that if your top six can't do a job, your seventh batter or your eighth batter is not going to make that much of a difference. So it's up to the top six to take that responsibility, because in any test match, particularly on a flat deck, you do need the extra bowling option, because if one bowler in a four bowler attack gets injured or has an off test match, you've basically placed additional pressure on the other three bowlers, which I don't think will serve South Africa well at all, or any team in this day and age, because you do need 20 wickets to win a test match, and that's the only way they're going to do it. And if anything, if we recall what Richard Piber said to us in a piece that I wrote on him for the magazine, he said that your batting unit is a batting unit. They've got to be good enough in all conditions. It's your bowling unit that changes depending on the conditions on offer. So
you see, it's picking the extra batter because out of desperation and necessity that I may have a problem with. Because you are automatically saying beforehand, you know what? Oh, we're going to collapse here, so we need the extra batter for protection. Then you won't win the match anyway. So what's the point of having the seventh batter if you're going to collapse anyway? If we were confident and we said, okay, look here, we need to pick the extra batter strategically because we really want to bury the team because we believe that our top six can get us started, or there might be a little bit of problems, then I can understand. If you have 3-4 batters that are in form, but when all of them are crap, then might as well just play six. I don't think the extra batter is going to help that much unless the person scores double century, which is highly unlikely. So, that's my problem with the extra batter all the time. If you're batting poorly, sort out the batting. Make sure that you can bat properly first before we can start even thinking about putting another batter into the mix, is my argument. Michael says Mulder can replace Ngidi. Oh, that's another option that's also possibly on the table to have that, because yes, Lungi Ngidi is a better bowler than Mulder, but I think that they add certain similar values in a team. They can play similar roles in the team. Now, Mulder doesn't necessarily bowl 140, and I'm not necessarily asking him to open the bowling like Ngidi has done in the past too, but Mulder can do a role in the middle orders, maybe the rotation with regards to Keshav Maharaj when you bring your spinner on eventually. I think Mulder can do a great job there, and then he strengthens your batting lineup. There's your seventh batter in a way, you could say, if you're playing him instead of Lungi Ngidi. So that is an option. I don't see that as a bad option at all. I mean, seeing that Aaron thinks that county cricket is the best system in the world, and this guy's scoring 200s
hang on,
county cricket, then surely he must be Brian Lara. So
Brian Lara scored 501 for Warwickshire in 1994 against Durham at Edgbaston. Yeah, but that wasn't what I was saying. Well, again, we'll discuss that on a podcast. Actually, it's interesting. I know we've spoken mostly about seam bowling, but actually the spinners are going to be pretty important, as spinners always are on flat wickets. And I think back to 2017, obviously Moeen Ali and the hat-trick. But in particular, these two bowlers, Jack Leach has been, I would argue, the better of the two spinners in this particular series in terms of the control, the discipline that he's shown. These two bowlers are going to be very, very crucial on this wicket. Not just in case of, they can take a wicket or two, but in terms of control, really applying that metaphorical screw, because it is going to be tough. This is a very batting-friendly wicket. And if the likes of a Maharaj or a Jack Leach can break a partnership or two and expose that middle to lower order as early as possible, that could also add an extra dynamic into this test match. So that's also something else which I do think we have to look at, is the performance of the two off spinners. They'll be underrated. They'll be the unsung heroes. But that could also dictate a lot in this particular test match.
Yeah. Suraj saying, don't forget, Khalid, bro, England Lions beat South Africa's main team in a practice game.
Convincingly as well, might I just add.
And also England Lions beat SA in a practice ODI too. It shows their
With
depth.
Sam Hain.
No, you got amazing. No, you got amazing. You've got the structures. The structures are amazing in England. The county scene, the structures are amazing there. I mean, I wish we had structures. I wish we had the ability to be able to have that amount of teams playing cricket in South Africa. That would be a massive win for cricket in South Africa, of course, because I want as many people to play it as possible. But yeah, that's a story, like you said, for another show.
we could do a 12-hour special on that.
Yeah. Can anyone tell me when the domestic cricket is starting? I think it starts in October, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to check for you. We haven't been sent us fixtures yet. I normally get the fixtures beforehand, but I haven't gotten it yet. But when I do, I'll let you guys know. So let's get your final thoughts. Start with Adam and end off with Aditya.
Well, I mean, to be honest, Khalid, I've pretty much said all I had to say. I think it's going to be a good conclusion to what's been an interesting series. As I said, it hasn't gone the way I thought it would at all. I thought it would have been incredibly closely fought across the two games, and both, as I said, were very one-sided for the respective teams. But cricket in September at the Oval, hopefully, fingers crossed, the bad weather does stay away. And if it does, it'll be a case of whoever bats long and bats better. And I say this every single series, will continue to do so, no matter the opposition. May the best team win, because at the end of the day, cricket's the winner.
Yeah, and also, if you look at the weather report, there's 2 days there with no rain. That's enough days. That's enough days to win a test match. Apparently.
Yeah, it's in this series.
Did you?
Well, I hope that this third test match is worthy of a serious decider, because England will always have a lot of test cricket to play, but a high profile series such as this is exactly what South Africa needs to ensure that test cricket is at its best. It's the pinnacle for South African cricket as well, and that they're good enough to be able to challenge the best teams in their conditions all the time. Because after the FTP that just came out, saw a drastic dip in the amount of test cricket that South Africa play. I think they need this test match more than anything else to prove that that they should be playing a lot more test cricket. With respect to the result of the game, again, as Aaron said, hopefully about 5 clear days of competitive test cricket there. And, I hope South Africa go into the test with a deal of confidence, with conviction. They select the right team and they find a way. They find a way to shoot the demons of that second test match from their minds.
Ooh, poetry. That's brilliant. My poetry to the Proteas is just bat properly, man. Don't come now.
Is that Shakespeare?
Bat properly.
Bat properly. Khalid
Yeah,
Modine,
fucking hell.
2022.
We can't continue with this crap batting performances, man. Come on now, guys. You guys have all the talent in the world, ability in the world. We all know it. We've seen it. Come on, just put on a perform. Play your natural games. Focus, mentality, vision. Go talk to Sal Evie about visualizing. All of the guys in the, because I mean he has some excellent visualizing techniques and stuff. We have an actual feature on the site where he speaks about that and what coach he used, actually not a cricket coach, to help him with his visualization. So go ahead and go check that out as well. I'm hoping that this team can come good. I really badly want to win. I really badly want to beat you guys. You don't understand, Aaron. I really want to beat you
understand
guys.
either. I'm currently 1-0 up when it comes to my Cricket Fanatic South Africa England Test series, so I want to keep that record. I'd love to extend it to 2-0 or 1-1-0.
Terrible. The last series was terrible. After the start we had, and again now again after the start we had, I really hope we can finish. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. The game starts at 12 South African Standard Time, 11 British Standard Time. So
Mhm.
go watch this as much as you can. Of course, I know it's still there's work in the week and everything, and it makes it hard for you to keep track, but try your best. Keep up to date on cricketfanaticsmag.com for your updates. We will be updating you there regularly about what's happening in the game. We'll have a lunch report and then a final report, as well as our a review show after the game, of course. So please support us everywhere you can. Download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly, of course. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. This is the latest issue with Dean Algo on the front cover, so please go ahead and download it. It's 100% free, guys. There's no catch. Every issue 100% free. So please go ahead and do so right away. And also, if you want to help us promote South African cricket and you want us to help grow South African cricket, become a patron today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. We will try to invest as much as possible back into the system eventually. That's the dream, obviously, of starting everything. So please help us out with that. And like I said, cricketfanaticsmag.com for all updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks, Aaron, for coming on. Thanks, Aditya, for showing up as well. We'll see you guys again tomorrow with another review show. Take care. Good luck to both teams. Good luck to all the fans out there. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.